Then they had the U.S. title match, which was Rey Mysterio and our friend Pablo Escobar. And by the time the bell rang, we were 52 minutes into the program with 5 minutes of wrestling. And the long match that we get is a babyface match. And haven't they? We saw he knocked Rey out and they had to stop the match. And they've wrestled more since they've been friends than they wrestled each other when they were on opposite sides and they were enemies, have they not?
Well, they've been teasing something happening with them for a few weeks, but I believe they've wrestled a few times. And of course, they also showed Dragon Lee at ringside. They made him a part of this.
Well, and see, now we're cooking. Because the thing is, did you see where they had to wheel the kiddie seat up to the front row so that he could see over the barricade from the front row there with the...
I actually thought him being held back in the crowd was one of the best parts of this.
Well, that's like being the nicest guy in prison. Both those things can be true. It could have been one of the best parts. Now, there wasn't anything the matter with the match. Of course, they didn't care a lot about it because during the match, they were cutting to the back where Solo and Uso were beating up random people wandering down the hall. But they went through 2 breaks. With
Heyman looking kind of horrified, but walking.
Well, yeah. Well, Heyman is not in favor of any of this because Jimmy's going off and picking fights with, as we'll hear later on, picking fights with people he's not supposed to pick fights with, and he's out of control. And Heyman's wandering around with those bug eyes like, oh my God, here we go. But as far as this match went, it was good. Rey's always good. The fans are into him. Escobar's trying hard. He needs some more than one expression on his face in a match a lot of times. But it went through 2 breaks, and it's a babyface match. And like you said, they've been teasing something's going to happen, but nothing ain't happened yet. And then finally, Rey rolled him up 1, 2, 3. And then he helps him up, and they start to talk. And, Rey, etc., but there's no handshake because then the Prophets hit and beat both of them up. And Lashley comes out smiling and encourages them to beat him up some more. And then the heels left. So we don't know whether there would have been a handshake because that got interrupted. But from the start of the introductions of the match to the out of the heels kicking the shit out of the baby faces, it's 28 fucking minutes. 28 minutes.
I'm not going to complain too much because I thought it was an all right segment and an all right match. And at least now we kind of know a little bit more about where the Street Profits are finally going. They are heels with Lashley like we thought. And again, Dragon Lee tried to jump into the fray. They had him at ringside. So it says something that WWE sees something in him that they want to do something with. And I guess the issues with Escobar and Rey are still up in the air. I almost thought Rey was going to turn heel for a second there because Escobar's just playing such a nice guy.
Yeah. And also Rey subtly was wearing an all-black outfit.
Yeah, good point.
So, but, and then after that, by the way, I mentioned 28 minutes, but when they came back from the break, they did a recap of what had just happened. And then Rey and Escobar challenged for a tag team match, Playa, on the pay-per-view. So let's add another 3 minutes. So they had 31 minutes of television time on this program. But now they're going to be partners at the pay-per-view. There's alliteration there all over the place. So could something happen if they lose that match and then one blames the other? Or are they just going to milk this cow until it's dry?
And then whose side will the LWO take?
Well, they would take the side of the Latino.
Well, no, I guess Rey and Escobar are kind of both the Latino leaders of the LWO, right? Because Escobar was with those other guys before they were in this group. Zelina just kind of came along, and then Rey was doing his own thing with Dominic.
Well, then they better take the side of the heel Latino, because elsewise, if the babyface has the group and the heel's all by himself, well, that's just odd.
Well, we'll see what happens.